In the dazzling world of Hollywood, behind the million-dollar smiles and red carpet glamour, lies a web of secrets darker than anyone dares to admit. For generations, some of the biggest names in the industry have lived double lives, forced to hide their truth under the blinding spotlight of fame. Now, in this jaw-dropping exposé, Exposed Hollywood rips away the curtain to reveal 15 secretly gay actors whose stories have been buried beneath decades of lies, silence, and carefully crafted illusions. From hushed whispers in backroom deals to forbidden romances kept in the shadows, these revelations will shatter everything you thought you knew about Hollywood's brightest icons. Brace yourself, because what we're about to uncover will shake the very core of Tinseltown. Colman Domingo isn't just an actor, he's a force of nature. The embodiment of strength, artistry, and authenticity, he has carved a path that few dared to walk. As a gay black man, he's shattered barriers both seen and unseen, proving that true talent knows no limits. Born in Philadelphia, Domingo built his career on relentless dedication and an unshakable belief in himself. From Fear the Walking Dead to Euphoria to Rustin, he brings an intensity to the screen that blends raw emotion with razor-sharp intelligence. What makes him unforgettable isn't just the roles he plays, but the life he chooses to live. In an industry where opportunities for black men are already scarce, being openly gay adds another layer of complexity. Yet Domingo has never let it dim his light. He doesn't parade it, nor does he conceal it. He simply exists in truth. And that, in itself, is revolutionary. Married to designer Raul Domingo, he speaks about his personal life with disarming honesty and quiet pride. For him, authenticity isn't about grand declarations, it's about calm confidence, a steady heart, and the refusal to compromise who he is. Colman Domingo reminds us that sometimes the most radical act is simply to live your truth, unapologetically, powerfully, and without fear. Dan Amboyer may not be the most familiar name in Hollywood, but his journey has quietly rewritten the script on truth and authenticity in the industry. He first caught attention playing Prince William in William and Catherine, a royal romance, later earning roles in hit shows like Younger and The Blacklist. With his striking looks and natural charm, he was often cast as the classic straight leading man. That's why in 2017, when Dan came out as gay, Hollywood was stunned. It wasn't just a revelation, it was a turning point. In an industry obsessed with image, Dan chose honesty over illusion. He stepped out from behind the curtain of expectations, refusing to live inside a box others had built for him. With courage and vulnerability, he redefined what it means to be a Hollywood prince. Not someone hiding behind a polished facade, but someone brave enough to live his truth no matter the risk. The response was powerful. Colleagues and fans alike applauded his honesty, and Dan quickly became a beacon for young actors torn between professional survival and personal freedom. He spoke openly about the fear, the burden of secrecy, and the indescribable joy of finally being seen for who he truly was. For Dan, the dream is simple yet revolutionary, that one day, LGBTQ+ actors won't have to come out at all, that they can exist freely, without explanation or fear, in a Hollywood that fully embraces authenticity. Elliot Page, once known to the world as Ellen Page, forced Hollywood to face a truth too powerful to ignore. With unforgettable performances in Juno, Inception, and X-Men, Days of Future Past, he captured hearts through raw emotion, even while quietly wrestling with a painful disconnect between public image and private reality. In 2014, still introduced as a woman, Elliot stunned the world when he came out as gay during a soul-stirring speech at the Human Rights Campaign conference, one of the most heartfelt moments of the decade. But his journey didn't stop there. In December 2020, Elliot revealed to the world that he is a transgender man, a declaration that not only reshaped his own life but also shook the foundations of Hollywood, redefining how the industry views transgender artists. The response was overwhelmingly supportive, but behind the applause lay years of hidden anguish. Elliot later opened up about the toll of playing female roles, the loneliness of feeling unseen, and the desperate yearning to live as his true self. Beneath the red carpets and magazine covers was a man longing for authenticity. After embracing his identity, Elliot didn't just survive, he flourished. On the Umbrella Academy, he stepped into a role that mirrored his truth, breaking barriers as a transgender character on mainstream television. Today, Elliot Page stands as far more than an actor. He is a symbol of resilience, courage, and hope for the LGBTQ+ community, a living reminder that the most powerful statement isn't always shouted from a stage, but lived openly, fearlessly, and unapologetically. Jim Parsons didn't just play Sheldon Cooper. He became a global phenomenon through that unforgettable role on The Big Bang Theory. As the socially awkward, razor-sharp physicist with quirks that made audiences laugh and fall in love, Jim collected 4 Emmys, a Golden Globe, and a spot among television's highest-paid actors. But beyond the applause and the fame lies a far more compelling story, the story of a man who embraced stardom with quiet courage and unwavering authenticity. For most of the show's run, Jim lived openly, but on his own terms. He never hid who he was, yet he never turned his identity into a spectacle either. That calm confidence only deepened the respect he earned. When he did choose to come out, it wasn't about making headlines, it was about truth. In an industry where honesty can carry a heavy price, Jim showed that you can succeed at the highest level without ever letting go of yourself. After The Big Bang Theory, he sought roles that spoke to his heart and convictions. One of his most powerful performances came in The Normal Heart, where he portrayed a passionate gay activist during the height of the AIDS crisis. It was raw, emotional, and revealed a dramatic depth that stunned audiences who had known him only for comedy. In that moment, Jim Parsons proved he wasn't just a sitcom star, he was an artist unafraid to bare his soul. Jonathan Bailey is living proof that Hollywood, and the world, is changing even if progress comes slowly. A classically trained actor with deep roots in Shakespearean theater, Jonathan catapulted to international fame as Anthony Bridgerton in Netflix's global sensation Bridgerton. As the commanding and magnetic Viscount, he set pulses racing with his smoldering romantic scenes and redefined what modern masculinity and desire could look like. But behind the curtain lies a truth many still overlook: Jonathan is gay. Unlike the leading men of old, he never hid who he was. Yet his journey was far from easy. Early in his career, he was quietly cautioned to keep his sexuality a secret, warned that being openly gay could cost him leading roles. Industry insiders insisted audiences would never accept a gay actor as the face of a straight romance. It was a long-standing prejudice in Hollywood. Jonathan refused to bend. He chose honesty over fear, authenticity over career safety. And when Bridgerton premiered, sending his star soaring, he came out publicly, on his own terms. Instead of rejection, he was embraced. That moment wasn't just a personal victory. It was a triumph for everyone who has ever longed to live their truth boldly, without compromise or shame. Luke Evans is one of those rare stars who embodies strength and sensitivity all at once. On screen, his commanding presence, sharp features, and timeless charm make him the picture of the classic leading man. Off-screen, however, he carries himself with a quiet sincerity that feels almost disarming in Hollywood. Born in the valleys of Wales, Luke began his journey on the musical theater stage, armed with a powerful voice and noble bearing that soon propelled him to blockbuster fame. From Dracula Untold to Beauty and the Beast, from Fast and Furious to The Hobbit, he became the very definition of Hollywood's masculine hero. Audiences never doubted, of course he must be straight. But Luke Evans shattered that assumption. He never hid the truth: he is gay. In London's theater world, he lived freely, openly, without masks or pretenses. It was only when Hollywood came calling that the familiar warnings crept in, agents urging him to stay silent, whispering that honesty could ruin his career. For a time, Luke chose quiet. Not out of shame, but as a shield. Still, he never staged fake romances or manufactured tabloid headlines. He refused to trade integrity for fame. His silence was its own quiet rebellion. And when he finally spoke, it wasn't in a scandalous reveal but in his usual calm, steady way, reminding the world that he is an actor first, a storyteller, a human being, no labels required. Matt Bomer. With his chiseled looks, magnetic charm, and calm sophistication, Bomer embodies the essence of the modern leading man. Intelligent, graceful, and utterly captivating. He first stole hearts as the brilliant con artist Neil Caffrey in White Collar, then proved his versatility with unforgettable turns in Magic Mike, The Normal Heart, and The Sinner. Yet beyond the screen, what truly makes Bomer remarkable is not just his talent, but the courage and timing of his truth. For years, he quietly shielded his private life, not from shame, but from an industry still reluctant to embrace openly gay actors in leading roles. Behind the curtain, he built a joyful life with publicist Simon Halls and their 3 children, born via surrogate. Then in 2012, standing on stage to accept an award for his advocacy in the fight against HIV, he chose simplicity over spectacle. No headlines, no staged announcement, just a heartfelt thank you to Simon and their children. In that moment, quiet but unshakably powerful, he rewrote what it meant to come out in Hollywood. And instead of losing momentum, his career soared. His deeply human portrayal of a man dying of AIDS in The Normal Heart earned him a Golden Globe, cementing his place as one of Hollywood's rarest treasures, a star whose strength lies not just in his craft, but in his authenticity, resilience, and unwavering sincerity in the face of prejudice. Neil Patrick Harris is more than just an actor. He's a true entertainment powerhouse whose career spans acting, comedy, and hosting. He first won America's heart as the teenage prodigy in Doogie Howser, MD, then redefined comedy with his legendary role as Barney Stinson in How I Met Your Mother, and even poked fun at himself in the Wild Harold and Kumar films. But beyond the roles, what truly sets Neil apart is his courage. For years, he kept silent about his sexuality, carefully balancing his private truth with public expectation. Then, in 2006, at the very height of his career, he made the bold decision to come out as gay, proudly declaring his right to live and love authentically. Off-screen, Neil found lasting love with David Burtka, a talented chef and fellow performer, building a partnership that continues to inspire. Far from limiting his career, coming out only pushed Neil higher. He shattered stereotypes, proving that a gay actor could not only play straight roles convincingly but could do it better than anyone expected. In doing so, Neil Patrick Harris didn't just entertain, he redefined what it means to be a performer and opened doors for countless others to follow. Ricky Martin, the electrifying force who set the world ablaze with his explosive energy and magnetic charisma, became far more than a Latin music star. He was a global pop culture phenomenon. With hits like Livin' La Vida Loca, She Bangs, and La Copa de la Vida, Ricky ruled the late 90s and early 2000s, captivating audiences from stadiums to television screens. But behind the glittering image of the irresistible Latin lover and international sex symbol lay a heavy silence, one that weighed on him for years. The industry had trapped him in a carefully constructed role, every rumor of his sexuality quickly silenced by managers, every probing interview deflected with rehearsed charm. Outwardly, he was the perfect man. Inwardly, he wrestled with a truth he could no longer ignore. Then came 2010. With a single, heartfelt open letter posted on his website, Ricky Martin shattered decades of speculation and stunned the world. He was gay. The words were not veiled, nor dressed in metaphor. They were raw, direct, and liberating, a declaration of authenticity that ignited hope for millions who had long lived in silence. Ricky admitted he had hidden for years, driven by fear, insecurity, and suffocating pressure. But he could no longer deny himself, or his children, the right to live with dignity. The revelation sent shockwaves through pop culture. Some gasped in surprise, others simply whispered, "We knew." But what resonated most was the tidal wave of love and support that poured in from across the globe. Ricky hadn't just come out. He had emerged as a fearless advocate for LGBTQ+ rights, using his platform to fight the same discrimination and prejudice that had once imprisoned him in fear. From that moment, Ricky Martin was no longer just a superstar. He was a symbol of courage, authenticity, and hope. Rupert Everett stands as one of Hollywood's clearest examples of how devastatingly high the price of truth can be. Born in the UK, Everett captured international attention with his striking charm and undeniable talent, dazzling audiences in another country as a young gay man trapped in a repressive British society, and later becoming an LGBTQ+ icon in the 90s with My Best Friend's Wedding, holding his own alongside Julia Roberts. But behind the glamour was a bold decision that would forever change his career. In the 1980s, long before coming out was embraced or even tolerated in Hollywood, Everett publicly declared his truth. While many of his contemporaries stayed silent, hiding their identities to protect their leading man image, Everett chose authenticity. And Hollywood punished him for it. Almost overnight, the romantic and charismatic roles that had once flowed his way disappeared. Producers and directors stopped calling. The career path that could have made him the next Hugh Grant suddenly closed. Everett himself admitted that if he had stayed in the closet, his stardom could have soared to unimaginable heights. Instead, he was forced to watch opportunities vanish, all because he refused to live a lie. Yet, Everett's story is not one of defeat. Despite the doors that slammed shut, his brilliance never dimmed. He continued to deliver extraordinary performances, proving that his talent could not be erased by prejudice. More importantly, his fearless authenticity carved a path for future generations of gay actors to live openly in a slowly evolving Hollywood. Rupert Everett didn't just act, he changed the narrative. And while the cost of truth was steep, his courage left an indelible mark on the industry. Thanks for watching Exposed Hollywood. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe so you never miss the stories that reveal the hidden truths of fame. Stay tuned, we'll see you in the next video.